Hi, Hitesh.
Hello, Mick. I can't do this, bro. Start again, start again.
All
Oh,
right. Hello, Hitesh.
hey, Mick, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
So, welcome to Jointflows.
Thank you, thank you. What an amazing week and a bit it's been.
Awesome. Well, look, this is our first interview, and we are going to this one internally. So, I thought, who could we speak to who's got knowledge of the industry, has been a top performer, both as an individual contributor and a sales leader, and has recently gone through an acquisition. So, here, Hitesh Kapadia, the new CRO of Jointflows. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Yeah, sure. So I am the new CRO at Jointflows. Prior to that, I was at a company called Yieldify, who are a marketing technology company, where I started as an individual contributor and essentially ended up in a position where I was leading the new business sales team over a period of over 5 years, which I was there. So that was good. Prior to that, I've got various different experiences. I've worked at companies like Profitero, who were also incidentally acquired by Publicis as well. Luck would have it. So I was there for a bit. I've also worked at companies like IRI, Procter and Gamble, to name just a few as well. But yeah, I'm glad to be here. This is probably the most exciting place to be at the moment, which is Jointflows.
Awesome. And can you tell us a little bit more about Jointflows? Obviously, I know what we do, but for the audience.
I would hope you would know what it does. So essentially what we do is we streamline the closing process, I'd say. So in particular, the focus is what you would call the last mile of the sales funnel. So often what we see is that from the moment a prospect will tell you, yes, I want to work with you, through to the point of signature, that's often where most of the complexity arises. So that's where you may get additional stakeholders. There's a variation of different documents that might be included into the process as well. So that's where a lot of the complexity resides. And what we often find is that AEs are very good at getting you to the yes. Like a good AE will get you there very quickly, but it takes a great AE to navigate that last mile as well. And the reason behind that is because the skill set that's associated with this is not necessarily aligned with what you see in an AE. So it's more project management than it is sales. And so as a result, what happens is it's very difficult to be able to forecast accurately, to be able to understand when a deal will close. So you might get deal slippage. So from a management perspective, it can be a nightmare because you have to report upwards in terms of what you're going to close from a business perspective. From an AE perspective as well, it's about where you spend your time as well. AEs want to sell, they don't want to project manage. And so what we effectively do is we're going to streamline that process, and we do that through a combination of putting together mutual action plans and automation as well.
Awesome. Why were you attracted by Jointflows? Like, what was the appeal?
Well, I think I'm fortunate enough where I've been in the space for quite a while, and in the recent years, so the last 18 months to 2 years, probably you've seen a trend where, before when we were in a bull market, it's very easy to sell. People have got budget they want to use. They're more receptive to conversations. They're more receptive to entering the top of the funnel in particular as well. And what I've noticed, you could probably ask many sales leaders will say the same thing. And I've spoken to quite a few within my network who will all agree. And what we're seeing is that within the top of the funnel, there's now difficulty in terms of filling that. And so if you think about how a business comes up with its targets, you work backwards, right? So you've got the revenue, the growth that you want to achieve, you work backwards all the way through to the number of ops that you need to generate to be able to deliver that number. And what we're finding is that BDR or SDR teams, however you want to call them, are falling short of this number. And so if all you do is focus on the top of the funnel, you're not going to change the outcome at the bottom of the funnel. So as a result, you end up missing target. And that's where we're going to focus, is within the funnel itself. So for me, the goal is, how do you hit your revenue number as a business? There's two ways you can do it. You can either optimize at the top of the funnel, which is proving to be very difficult at the moment, or you can actually maximize what's sitting within the funnel. So for me, what was really appealing about Jointflows was the ability to be able to put the focus there where I think will move the needle the most for businesses.
And why do you think there's a bigger opportunity on maximizing what's within the funnel as opposed to creating more coverage?
Well, as I think it goes back to what I was saying originally. So, that skill set that's required. I think this is more for, either enterprise sales processes or high velocity. So lots of deals that are coming in at a regular cadence. And I think that the skill set that's required there to be able to project manage isn't inherently residing within your normal AE. And so it's a needle that you can move actually quite easily if you've got the right tools to be able to do it. And so for me, I think once again, that opportunity is very apparent. It's there because it's the easiest way to close that revenue gap for businesses.
Is this something you've personally experienced?
What's that?
Like the fact that pushing deals over the line is actually getting more and more complex and
100%, yeah. 100%. I think even before you get to the paper process, for example, even before you get to the yes, it's getting more complex. There are additional stakeholders being involved earlier in the cycle now as well. The buying committee is becoming bigger and bigger. The decision-making criteria is becoming more complex as well. It's really difficult to manage without having a system in place. So, obviously you should be adopting sales methodologies to support you in that process as well. But sales methodologies as a standalone isn't going to be sufficient. You do need to have something in place to be able to get you over the line as well. But it's definitely something that I've experienced more so in the last 18 months to 2 years. In particular, where there's additional effort that's required. It often results in discounting, for example, in order to meet timelines, or it just results in deal slippage. So yeah, it's definitely something that I've experienced as a pain, and it's something I'm looking forward to solve.
So would you say that Jointflows is aimed at addressing both growth and profitability goals?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. The goal is to improve your close rate. You do that by preventing deal slippage, but also being able to forecast more accurately as well. So yeah, it is generating revenue, but it's also generating profitability because your AEs are going to be able to work more efficiently as well.
Yeah.
Right. So what's going to happen if an AE has the ability to be able to essentially reduce the effort they put in the project management piece, it frees up time for them to do other things. Right. So they get to work more on actually generating new business. So 100% from profitability standpoint, but also there's other byproducts that come out of that as well in terms of the way Jointflows is used or can be used. Ramp up time for new AEs, having best practices within there that they can follow. There's benefits from a legal perspective as well. There's so many benefits within the platform. I know it's easy for me to say because obviously I'm here. But honestly, there's so many benefits that the profitability piece is a big yes. Like, we're going to make you more profitable and generate more revenue as well.
Why do you think you guys have a competitive edge versus the standard tools like a Salesforce or a HubSpot?
So I think that every business needs to have a good tech stack, no doubt. I think that Jointflows play in a particular area of that tech stack which nobody else covers. At the top of the funnel, you have things like outreach, you have things like SalesLoft. You go through to to answer more specifically your question, you've got CRM tools like Salesforce or HubSpot and stuff. But essentially what that allows you to be able to do is track only to a certain degree how an opportunity is performing. And where the blind spot currently is let's say you've got a CRM instance and within that you have an opportunity. What does your typical AE do? They might have different stages they follow. So they might go, right, we're going to go to discovery call. Yeah, tick, that's done. And then, they hit the little drop down. They're going to go to solution call. Maybe it's after that, it's commercial proposal presented, commercial proposal accepted. And then after that, you go to close one, you go to close loss, right? There's two outcomes. But the reality is that final step, let's call it stage 4, for example, it's a lot more complex than that. There are actually many steps that reside within that step. And there's no way natively that you're able to actually do that within a Salesforce or a HubSpot. And so what's good about Jointflows is we integrate with your CRM system as well. So, it's going to become seamless. It doesn't mean that just because you're using Jointflows, you're not using a Salesforce or a HubSpot. It's actually very complementary, and it's going to allow you to maximize what you're getting from your CRM as well.
Sounds very powerful. What are your learnings from your first week? Obviously, you've been following Jointflows for a while, but as from within, what did you learn, and then what were you surprised with?
I think the opportunity in terms of like a target addressable market is humongous. I really do. And from the conversations that I've had as well with prospects, everybody agrees that there's a pain that needs to be solved that is not currently being solved. And so for me, there's huge validation in terms of the need. I feel like the timing is now. So it's actually a great time for Jointflows, because this is as good a time as now as ever. You speak to the majority of AEs out there or SDRs, they're all complaining, they're all feeling pain at the moment. And we can help ease that pain in a big, big way. Revenue leaders are feeling pain, lots of uncertainty about how they're going to hit targets, how big these targets are. We're going to be able to help with that. So my number one learning is that the opportunity is absolutely humongous. I think the other thing that was surprising for me was the amount of use cases that we can solve for. So I've spoken a lot about the last mile, because that's, where the product was born from. But actually, it's so agile. You could choose to introduce it earlier into the sales process if you wanted to as well. And the other thing that surprised me was the way in which it allows you to streamline those internal processes. I think from a leadership perspective, the ability to identify bottlenecks within your process is unreal, because it's just going to save so much time, create so much efficiencies, and actually saves you a lot of money in the long run as well.
Yeah. And is there an element of like monetization of other initiatives? Like we speak a lot about RevOps, sales enablement. Do you feel like the platform actually helps you better structure something that you can then measure?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. If you look across the landscape, RevOps are becoming more and more important within all companies, rightfully so. And we're really going to allow them to be able to be a lot more impactful in terms of what they do as well. And it's impactfulness from a RevOps perspective, from like a revenue point of view. So from like a CRO, VP, depending on the size of the company, CEO, all the way down to the AE. Your return on investment as a business on people is extremely important, right? Especially in today's climate where there's cost cutting going on as well. It's, what's your return on investment that you're getting from people? We're going to be able to maximize that return on investment.
And if you were to flip the script and start with the ultimate outcome using Jointflows, and you needed to pitch this to a CFO or CRO, what would you say we're going to help them do?
Close revenue faster. In a simple sentence, I think is what it is. We close revenue faster and we make you more predictable. Then those are two, if we're talking about CFOs in particular, predictability is paramount. If you're going to miss the number massively, they need to know, right? Like you can't keep going into meetings with your board and, giving them a number that's unrealistic. Same with your CFO. And what we do is those two things, which are extremely important for them. We make you more predictable. So the accuracy at which you're going to be able to call your forecast is great. And then also we accelerate the speed at which you're going to recognize revenue by closing deals faster.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think that's it for today. Unless you've got anything you want to add.
That's it for me. I think everyone should have a demo of Jointflows, and other than that, I have nothing else to add.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to have you on board, and yeah, we look forward to seeing how you guys and how we are getting on with this venture.
All right.
All right.
Great to be here, Mick.
See you later. Bye.
Bye bye.